Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to show you how to design this text flyer. Before you start the video, if you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel because on this channel, I create video around graphic designing, especially using your smartphone. So if this is something you're interested in, you have to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications so that anytime I upload a video like this, you'll be the first person to get my notification. Alright, so let's get started. Background. So this is what I'm going to be using in this design. So I will go to my gallery to import the background that I want to use for this particular design. Alright, this is the background. I'll go ahead and import it, increase the size. So I'll come to this polygon tool and I'm going to relative size and I'll increase it to fill the canvas like this. Alright, so from here I'm going to my layers panel and lock it because I'm done using this for now. So the next I'm going to do is to come to my shapes. So I'll click on the shapes once again. I'll go to circle and I'll choose circle like this. Then I'll come to my opacity and reduce it to 0. I'll go to my stroke, increase it to something like this, and also go to blur radius and increase it to something like this. So I'm going to reduce the size so that there will be no space in between this circle. Alright, so something like this is cool. Let me reduce the blurriness a bit. Okay, I can still see some space in between, so this is cool. And I will come and mark it like this. Now I have a shape like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is to change the color for this to white. Actually, it's going to be ash. So I'm going to my color, click on this place and change the color to ash. So choose white and I'll reduce it slightly like this. Okay, so something like this is fine. I'll increase it like this and position it right at the top. I'll check it and copy it several times and position it right here. Okay, alright, so I'm going to my layers panel and I'm going to merge all these layers. Now after merging these layers, the next thing I'm going to do is to reduce the opacity for this one. First of all, let me click on the layers to uncheck it. Then I'm going to opacity and reduce it slightly to something like this. Now let me go and import the design, the original design, so that we'll be looking at it to design and be quick. Alright, so we have successfully imported our design right here. We'll be looking at it to use and design this flyer. Okay, so I'll copy this layout several times again. I'm going to my copy. I'll copy it several times. Alright, so something like this is fine. I'll merge them once more. I'll merge them like this, these two layers. In fact, there are three now. I'll click on merge. Now after they are merged, I'll go to my opacity and reduce the opacity again. Alright, so this is fine. Now from here, I can bring my text onto the working area. So I'm going to type the first text like this. So I'm going to text and I'll type, double click on the text and type night. Alright. Alright, once that you have successfully done that, you increase the size, then you go to color. First of all, let's go to our fonts. We are going to choose this particular font here. Let's scroll through our fonts. Okay, we are going to use this font. This one. I don't think it's the same font. Now let's change the font. Okay, we are going to use this font. This particular font. Don't worry about the font for now, okay? So you can use any fonts when you are designing. So I will be sharing fonts with you guys later. So this is the font I'm going to be using like this. So from here I can change the color to the color of this font. This text rather, sorry. So I'm going to my color. I'll come to gradient and I'll choose the gradient that I want. So this is the color combination. So the first part, this is the color code that I use for the first part. Sorry. This is the color code. This is the color code for the first part. And the second part too, this is the color code. This is the color code for the second part too. Alright, so I'll check it and click OK. So we are done with this. I'm going to give this text a stroke. I'm going to give it a stroke. I'm going to stroke. Yes, I'll change the stroke color to white and increase it like this. Okay. Let me make the stroke color a little bit darker than the first color. So this is fine. Now the next thing is to copy this text. I'm going to copy this text, position it right here, and increase it like this. Then I will type worship. So I'm going to type worship for this one. Alright. Okay, let me make all small letter. Alright. So I'll go to my padding and increase the left padding, okay? So here's my padding. I'll increase the left padding slightly like this. Okay. Let me increase the right one too slightly. Now position is right under this one. Okay. I think this is fine. So I can go to my layers panel and lock these 2 layers. Now, in fact, the 3 layers. So I will click on this and copy it again. Let me copy the first one. I'm going to type off. OF. Alright. So this, I'm going to change the font to a different font because this is looking weird for me. I'm going to change the font to a different font. So let's use this font here. What is it? Right, this is the font we are using. So I'm going to reduce the size like this, make it very small, and position it. Okay, let's move it down a bit. Okay, well, this is cool. Now I'm going to my gallery to bring the men of God I will be using for now. Alright, here is the man of God I will be using. So let me reposition this at the top here. Let me send it to the top. Okay, send it to the top like this. Now this is the man of God I will be using. I will increase the size of this one. Anytime you increase the size of an image or a picture in Pixellab, please make sure you duplicate or copy the layer and delete the first one. This is because whenever you increase the size, Pixellab reduces the quality of the image. Alright, so I'm going to crop this image. I'm going to crop and I'll crop it to something like this. Like this. Like this. Alright. Now I will reduce the size like this, position it at the bottom like this. Okay, so from here I'm going to my color filter and I'll reduce the saturation to 0 and also increase the brightness to 21. 21 is too much. 11 is fine. Then I'll increase the contrast a little bit to 7. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to copy it and position it right here. Now the reason for copying this is to be able to apply the same effect to the next image that I'm going to select. So I'm going to reselect. Once the second image is activated, I'm going to reselect. I'm going to my gallery to bring the next image onto the working area. Alright. So this is the next image that I'll be using. I can crop this one too as well. Alright. So as you can see, the effect has been applied to this one too, like this. I'm going to copy this, put it down, and go to reselect and choose the next image. So this is the next man of God I'll be using. I'll crop this one too like this. Then I'll check. Now I'll have to reduce this one too. Now make sure the sizes of the 3 men of God are the same. I'm going to bring this one here and this to the middle like this. You can see, make sure the head and the size is equal, alright? Okay, for me to be able to do this very well, let me click on my grid tool and position it right at the top like this. Okay, so now I can position my men of God now. I want to bring this one up. This one to up like this. I'm going to reduce this one slightly because I feel this image is bigger than the rest. And I'm going to bring this one to like this. Alright, so now that everything is done, I can go ahead and merge all of them. But first thing first, I'm going to let me redo this. So I'm going to click on an empty area click on shapes, and then I'll increase the size like this. Click on gradient here, and I'll choose the default black and white. Okay. So I'm going to choose the first one. Alright. So from here I'm going to click on the plus, click on this white, and then I'm going to reduce this to 9 and check it. Now something like this is fine. I can now click on OK and OK. But I will take this like this and position it somewhere here. So with this I'm going to change the color to this first, to white, natural white. Then I'll copy this layer several times to make it cover the sharp edges of the images. So let's hurry up with this. Alright, I think this is fine now. So I can now merge all of this, or just lock them. I prefer to merge all these layers because they will become plenty on the working area. So I'm going to merge them like this. Now after merging them, you can now lock them at the top like this. Alright, so from here you can work with your text, the name of the man of God. So I'm going ahead to my text. Now type the name of the first man of God. Okay, so I'm going to choose a font for this and also a color for this. I'm going to choose the color to an actual black. Click on check, go to fonts, and I'm going to choose this font, the one that we used recently, which is this one. I'm going to use this one. Alright, now I want to change the color for this apostle at the top and the font too, to something like this on the area, on the original design. So I'm going to click on this, come to my color, and I'll change the color here. Let me just pick it from the background. Okay, I think this is fine. I'm going to change the font too for this particular one. So let me scroll through and see which fonts work best for me. Alright, this is the font I'm using, this one. I'll click on OK. This is not the one that I used on the original design, but this one too works perfectly. So just reduce the size for this, and then I'll copy it. And I'm going to copy it again. So let me type the name of this prophet. So this is Pastor this Pastor Emmanuel Iron here. Iron. Okay, so I'm going to change the color for this to a black color. So this is Pastor David Abiyomi, a Nigerian pastor. I think all of them are Nigerian pastors, except this one. This is actually a fictional flyer, okay? So that Pastor David Abiyomi. Alright, so I'm going to change the color for this too, like I did for the previous one. Alright, so the next thing is to make sure all of these are in line, okay? So to better do that, make sure your grid line is activated. Then you make sure you position them and they are in line. Alright. So I think this is fine for me. So I'll position it right here, like this, and like this. Alright, so the next thing is to bring all these things onto the working area, alright? Okay, so I'm going to copy one of these texts. Then I'll type the location. This is a fictional fly once again. So okay, so I'm going to change these to something else, the font. Let me just use the one that I've been using in the design, okay? So in every design, make sure the maximum font you use should be 3, okay? Yes. Make sure you use only 3 fonts. Okay, so let me change the color. Alright, so I'm going to position this one too in line with this. I'm going to reduce the size slightly, position it right. Now make sure the location is very visible and the time too is visible, right, whenever you're designing something like this. So I'm going to, let me deactivate this, bring this to the bottom like this. Alright, please, if you have watched the video up to this point, please consider subscribing to my channel, alright? Okay, so let me just bring the shape quickly, then we are done with our design. So I'm going to increase my radius like this, reduce this size, bring it here. I'm going to gradient and choose the color that I use for this. At this time around, I want to change this to something like this. Alright. So I'll go ahead and check it like this and reduce the size slightly. Alright, so for the sake of time, I will not change these settings. Alright, we are done with our design. The next thing is to just save your design and you are good to go. So thank you very much for watching this video, and if you find it helpful, please do the needful by subscribing to my channel. Okay, see you in my next video.